are you going to be able to do to help the team pull it out in this best of 5 against Vitality, even with your injury?
I'm mostly talking with the coaches. I'm mostly watching the scrims whenever I can. Like, I think there's only 1 or 2 days that I missed. Else, I was watching the scrims, trying to help the team, just strategy-wise, what they can improve on, picks and bans, all this kind of stuff. Like normal stuff that staff do.
Good to hear that you're still part of the process and you're still helping make this happen for Fnatic, even when you can't play. I'm curious, Bwipo coming into sub for you, first best of 5 in a big high-pressure scenario like this for him. Talk to me about him as a player. What do you think he's going to be able to bring to the table?
I think what Bwipo bring is more aggressiveness towards the top lane, and I think since he joined, when there's like new player, you know, like the team is more willing to like help the new player feel better, right? So it brings a good way of like for them to eventually finally start like playing a bit more towards the top lane. So yeah, I think overall the last 3-4 weeks, like we improved, and they improved a lot with Bwipo about playing on the top lane.
Good to hear. I'm excited to see what he can do in the series for the lineup. Now, as a final question for all the Fnatic fans out there, for all the SOAS fans out there, when can we expect to see you back on the big stage?
Well, two weeks after my operation, I will be able to start playing again, practice. I mean, so basically off season after MSI, or maybe MSI. I mean, it depends, you know. I mean, after playoffs, I will start practicing, and then we will see for MSI, depending if like we win or not, and if not, probably go bootcamp, Korea, or something like this.
Well, I'm excited to see. I wish you the speediest recovery. Good luck to you and to your team today in the best of 5. We'll see exactly how it unfolds. Thank you.
Merci.
Thank you very much, Drake, because, of course, catching up with SOAS before Game 1 happened. Welcome back to the coverage. Of course, Game 1, Bwipo, while he played, it wasn't about him. Caps and Broxer 2v8'd the Rift. What a phenomenal performance. The Nidalee plus Zoe, they just popped off. 25-minute game win.
Trundle couldn't stop them. No cleanse mid lane for Jizuke.
Okay, Deficio.
It hurt.
Game 2, Vitality side selection. They picked red side. What's happening in the draft?
Okay, that's going to be tough to predict from here. Well, I haven't even seen the bans, but I think on Vitality side, they get a higher chance of securing a good 2v2 matchup around mid lane.
Right.
Compared to on blue side. I think it's really difficult to get winning lanes on blue. I think Vitality needs, you know, especially around Jizuke, a lane where they can get him ahead, shut down Caps, and then start snowballing from there. It's always been the strategy we talk about for them. This is a game to show it. Do not want to drop down 2-0 and have lost on both sides in the first 2 games then. So let's see what happens with Vitality. Desire ban coming in again. Tristana could also still be a ban if they want to keep trying to target Reckless.
Right.
And that is what they're doing. So they're putting a lot of focus on him, even though Fnatic found success around the mid lane in the last game.
Well, let's see what this happens in terms of then picks. Having the option to counter pick, having the option to get those stronger lanes that you've mentioned is a possibility.
Swain is open in this one. So far, Swain has been winning basically every single game here in Europe. And he's been the go-to first pick for most teams on blue side. Vitality needs to decide if they want to ban it or not. If they do leave it open and Fnatic grabs it, we need to see what Vitality can trade for that specific pick.
And of course, we've seen Bwipo utilizing Swain already at a slightly difficult early game. With Jhin removed, insta-lock Swain. There wasn't even hesitation there.
So I just want to say this from... I said this in the last game, and I'm going to say it again. I don't think Reckless gets impacted by these kind of bans, because he still plays a lot of other champions like Ezreal and Sivir. Especially the Sivir is something he's, you know, done really well on when you look at his Fnatic team. And it's not about him winning early game.
No.
It's not about him winning lane. It's about him playing team fights very well. When we see Fnatic very often win their games. Of course, there are the one-off games where he just gets 5-0 in lane, but that's not what Fnatic is playing around.
No, definitely not the case. And you can see how serious Gilius looks on screen, by the way. First rotation for Vitality, it is the Camille and the Tahm Kench. No real surprise. If Tahm Kench is available, Jack Troll will be locking it in. He's played 8 games this split already, 1-4, lost 4. This will be his 9th. And of course, that Camille We're expecting it to go top. Technically, the Swain could still flex as well, depending how the draft plays out.
Yeah, for sure. They can just put Swain top and play around the lane and try and shut down Camille. That's definitely a possibility. Ezreal might just be the pick here, or Sivir to buff up the Swain further in team fights, and then Fnatic finds themselves with a fine 80 carry, and they don't really care about 380 carry bans that much for themselves. Let's see if they actually decide to go for it. Vitality now needs to make sure they can actually get an advantage in terms of 80 carries.
So what do you run into the Ezreal then, knowing 5 80 skis are already off the pool, 4 bans, 1 picked away? I mean, like you said, the Civ is still there. It could find itself in the ban pool in phase 2 if it's not picked now.
We know from in Truebax there's Jinx, there's Ashe, and then again, just to mention the Ziggs, and this is one of the picks we have seen from him. They need something where they can potentially play around him if they want to try and shut down Reckless. But I think with the Camille top, they're gonna move their attention to Cabo Shot.
Got it.
That is what you normally see with this pick, and especially if it is going to be Camille against Swain, you're going to have to help Cabo Shot. The Talia pick is going to try and do that, just like we have seen before from Vitality, but it is a shift, because they were playing only tanks top lane in the quarterfinal, and they were consistently playing around mid and bot lane, and they're going to try and change it now for this specific game.
Well, if anyone has the ability to step up, Cabo Shard might be one of those guys. Historically, going back years, used to be known as a carry player. But I have to go back a long time. 2015. It is...
or 16.
It has been a while since Cabo Shard has been one of the lead carries on a squad. And of course, if this Camille does get confirmed in the top lane and we get some sort of tank jungler for Gilius,
because now
they can play around.
When we expect him to play around top side, we could just get more of a defensive lane from Vitality. Like the Jinx pick can make a lot of sense here. We have actually seen Truebax grab that specifically against Ezreal before.
Right.
And his comments were, as long as I don't get hit by Qs from Ezreal, I can just push the wave. And like, I mean, we can't really argue with that logic.
Yep.
So it might be what he's looking to do here, and they just have some late game insurance from him, and they focus on top side of the map. I think from Gilius' side, we need to see a jungler where he can be proactive early, so he can help both Talia and Camille.
What would you like to see? Skarner's up, Sejuani's up, Zach's up.
Well, Zach is here as one of the picks that I thought would be super contested between the teams, just because he's had so much value in Europe specifically. Skarner can do the same. You can be proactive, fast, clear, good 1v1, and at level 6, you can try and guarantee some of those kills. So I like the change. And this is actually funny enough, the first time Gilius is playing Skarner this split, despite him being a meta pick for quite a while now.
Oh man, first, you know, changing the style from quarterfinals, carry top instead of tank top. In addition, first time Skarner. In addition, Bwipo, first a GP, because I'm assuming that Caps will be taking that Swain mid.
Okay, might not be the Jinx, but we might still get that late game carry. I know actually they swap it over to Sivir on Vitality side. There's more ways to try and buff up
the Camille, the
Skarner.
That's a great synergy.
That GP is going to be interesting to follow, because that actually gives Vitality a few more ways to try and get ahead early on top side. GP traditionally is not doing a lot in the early game other than just farm, and then he's utilizing his ulti to, of course, impact the rest of the map. But going for kills against him with Camille, Skarner, and of course Talia, he's going to be squishy. Yes, he can eat an orange to get out of some of the CC, but you're not getting out of Camille ult.
No,
that's
you're
for
not.
Sure.
And of course, you're going to get run down by Camille, Skarner, Talia, Sivir, once they start playing around that lane and grouping up. But we heard it from Soaz just in that pre-game interview, talking about how when you have a new player to the stage, you can play around him, play into his lane, play to activate him. There's maybe some options that Fnatic will have to do to protect this GP.
Yeah, it definitely feels like bot lane is going to be this farm lane, and everything is around mid and top lane for these teams here. Of course, more of a scaling jungler for Broxah compared to last game within Italy.
Yeah.
This game here, Vitality will have the options from draft to snowball early game. Top lane, mid lane is where we're looking at. Honestly, this might be the most important game Vitality as an organization has ever played in League of Legends, because they cannot afford to go down 2-0 and lose on red side.
Making it to semifinals with this group of rookies that qualified under the banner of Giants. 4 of the 5. They surprised everybody going 7-1 into the split. And as the players load into the game, we're going to check in with Dracos, who's standing by with Vitality's coach.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I am joined by Yamato Cannon. Now, Yamato, it was a bit of a rough game 1. I'm curious what you've changed now coming into game 2 to make sure you can pick up the win.
This game, the first game was all about what happened in mid lane. I think Fnatic did adjustments with how they play around mid lane, and it paid off. In terms of adjustments, I was happy with the draft. The outcome was very good for us. We got so much information of what Fnatic wanted to do. And I think coming into the next game, we just made minor adjustments. Red side, of course, is a lot different. And we just need to reset our mind. It's just one game.
All right, well, interested to see how it plays out. Good luck in your second game. For now, back to you guys on the caster desk.
Thank you very much. I absolutely love hearing that from you, Marta. We learned a lot, we adapted, now we'll see whether or not it pays off in game, because that's what matters. And of course, all the pressure on Vitality, because as we went into that little chat, Tefisha, you were saying possibly the most important League of Legends game for this organization ever. Crashed out at quarterfinals in years gone by in previous splits. Perennial 7th place squad for many times, not even making playoffs often.
It's funny because if you remember Elements, they used to always be the ones just missing playoffs. And after they disappeared, I felt like Vitality took their spot.
Oh, yes.
Always sitting just outside until this lineup here, until these new players enter the team. Fnatic and all level 1.
Blastcone! Boom! Here comes Fnatic! Gilius is running for his life. How many flashes will get expended? That's one. Mini Trupax gets tagged up. There's no further follow-up. I got so excited and nobody's died. Re-engage from Vitality as the Sentinel continues to be focused out. Smite fight picked up by Broxer, of course. Now they can get back onto Gilius. Jack drops to 200 HP. Gilius is going low. Reckless summoning heal and flash. First blood picked up by Hillisang, but the reply from Jack Troll. He gets one back. As Fnatic and Vitality back away. It's not done yet. Bwipo is shooting Cabochard in the face, and all the action all the time.
All right, Fnatic, second time to try something level 1 here. They are using the fact that Braum is the best level 1 support when it comes to finding one target and try and burn them down. More damage to Bwipo, he's flashing!
Bwipo flashes. Kill. No, he doesn't have it. He flashed through the tactical sweep. Oh, come on, you're kidding me? They're going to fight in the mid lane. Cap's going to get jumped on here by Jizuke. Throws out the Death's Hand. I keep building this one up. Man, what a start to a game.
Welcome to Fnatic versus Vitality with a bunch of early game action already. We get the replay from before. So, they know they have Braum. Also, Sejuani can try and apply even more CC here. So they go for the level 1. Thinking they can always win this, and they actually force Vitality away, but now they are tanking. You know, screw it. Gilius, he's top lane. He wants to gank. He wants to snowball top.
Oh, do you remember that flash Bwipo used earlier? How much will this come to hurt him? The fracture into the Crystal Slash eats an orange, but it's not okay. Hook shot to the face, and Gilius sends his regards.
So much happened bot side that while we swapped up to top lane and we saw the potential all in, the fact that he actually did that gave Gilius a chance to go for an early gank. And he just got level 2, grabbed the red buff, and goes straight top lane. It's a good adaptation from Gilius, important. Gank from level 1 is also great because his parlay deals pretty serious damage there. Camille can't do much pure level 1, but then when he uses flash, he sets up an easy gank. Cabochard gets only the assist for himself, but at least he gets a bit of time to get some farm.
Even as far as gold is concerned in the game, both supports were the ones that picked up the kills in that exchange at blue buff. And it's Gilius that's picked up the first gank, so he's got a minor advantage over Broxer for now.
Yeah, and small advantage bot for Mini Trupax with the fact they actually killed Reckless. It was Gilius who died on the other side for Vitality, so that didn't really set the lane behind. And Mini Trupax has been able to go down bot lane and get early push for himself. But, okay. We've already seen what Vitality wants to do. We talked about in the pick and ban phase, a lot more focus around top side with this Camille pick. Especially against Gangplank, who's going to be squishy, going to take a ton of damage in these fights, and there's going to be a Talia coming later to try and shut him down.
Well, Bwipo didn't quite get the powder cake chain just a moment ago. Cabochard was able to use that passive, block a lot of the trades, and he's currently shoving the wave into Bwipo.
Yeah, notice this minion wave here. Now, as Fnatic, you can communicate. This wave will push top lane. There's no flash on Camille. So there is a chance that a play can happen on top side, or at least force Cabochard to play a little bit more passive, because he's scared. He knows he's going to overextend to push this all the way out. Brox, on the other hand, though, he's saying, no, guys, I don't need my camps. I don't want to go top lane here. The wave, nope, don't care. So Cabochard will get to push it out. Won't get forced away and potentially lose even more CS.
All right, so he can maintain that advantage. Try to push ahead, keep the pressure on Cabochard's side. Because once the wave once the wave pushes back, then all of a sudden there's another opportunity for Gilius to jump back in there and play around that lane.
There's a lot of back and forths. In that case, Gilius can actually go topside now. He can go for the Crux, clear that camp, and then see if the Gangplank is overextending or not. Sadly for Gilius, he's only level 3 to level 5 of Broxer because he lost, of course, the initial camp. Then he went for the first gank, and he's actually been set pretty far behind because of it. See if he can get a bunch of kills to get some experience back or not.
It's interesting to see what Gilius will do as this early game plays out, because what we've learned from the regular season, Gilius giveth wins from the early game and Gilius taketh wins in the early game, because he really is the tip of the spear for that squad.
It is very true. He's the man who sets up everything early, and then Jizuke takes over after him. But now we got level 6 on Talia. We talked about how go top lane can be the answer. Gangplank cannot get away from the Camille ult itself. But it is not available yet, because Cover Shot is only level 5 on his side. So Jizuke will have to wait a little bit longer. Classic support move, trying to be a nice guy and save the CS for your AD carry. And then you get poked.
Yeah, take
the life of support.
Mini Trupex, by the way. He finished that recalls, come back into lane with the BF sword. And now Hilly and Reckless a little behind in tempo there. Gilius continues to show his face top, continues to play around this lane.
It's what we talked about, him doing the Crocs. He got a little bit delayed because he went mid first. Fnatic seem to be aware there's a high chance he's up here. Brox is on his way for potential lane counter gank. Let's see. Caboshot is trying to set it up. Gilius going in, but I think the Gangplank is too far away.
Wipo's got access to that cannon barrage, and Gilius didn't stop to kill the ward.
It was a control ward there, so...
Doesn't want to waste any of the time. Now, Brox is going to be available if any possibilities open up. Neither top laner has a flash. Wipo takes a big chunk of damage from that hook shot and sweep, and looking at the mini-map, there's a potential roam from Caps.
And if Jizuke can push out mid, he can go top lane first. Caps is trying to match the push and then walk with him, seeing as there's no TP on him. Oh, a lot of damage.
Ricochet, not going to have the range.
Good first back from Mini Trueback's grabbing this BF sword. I think Rectus just got interrupted as well by Jack Troll, just denying even more time. It's a good play from Vitality's bottom lane, and meanwhile top, no follow-up gank, flashes back up.
Oh man, the tension continues to build in Game 2 of the semi-final while Reckless is backed away. A reminder that we've got a new way to watch the game. If you head over to twitch.tv/riotgames2, you can check out Reckless's point of view stream. Watch the game through his eyes. After consulting with Fnatic's management, it's important to know the overlay has been adjusted to show more of the action. Twitch chat, we got you, fam. So go check that out and let's see what they can do. Back to game though. And back to this, 8 minutes in, even on gold. The game plan's playing out exactly as expected, but does Gilius need to do more for Vitality?
I mean, he already did execute the first gank. I think him farming for level 6 is fine, but it is a problem for him that he's still slightly behind here. I think the only unexpected thing was Vitality's bot lane getting that advantage from the actual level 1 because they killed the AD carry, which was big. Yeah, they lost the blue buff, but they got the early control on bottom side, early recall from Mini Trueback with the BF sword. So this bot lane turret, just in the 2v2, is extremely low. There's a high chance Vitality can secure that first turret for themselves.
And they start playing the map even more.
Yeah, then you have Tom Kench. So the moment you can unleash him, you get a lot of tempo advantage when it comes to lane swapping with the Tom Kench ulti. So there's a way for Vitality to just swap bot side now, try and secure the first turret. I mean, swap bot side with ready put pressure. Get the first turret and then use that to open up the map a bit more. Reckless with classic tier Sheen. That means sit back and kill minions with Q.
You're in that power trough of your tier, you know, going back legacy days. Your legacy team, you got to bring out the legacy stories to Fisho.
Drinking game, by the way. Every time Trevor says legacy, drink at home. And that was 3 right there.
Well, there we go. It only just started now, so those don't count. Looking at Broxah, he's going to show his face down the bottom lane. That tower's under a lot of pressure. And what a different opening we've seen this game from the previous. Broxah in the previous match spent a lot of time around Caps, who's now under trouble. Gilius gets the flash impale back. That's good damage from Jizuke. The seismic shove connects as well. Here comes Jack Troll, and Caps survives a very long time before Gilius takes him out.
Broxah wanted to get an assist there and hit his mid lane in the face.
Did not save his mid laner's life. Vitality with another good kill.
I think that surprised Caps so much because Jizuke wasn't even back in the mid lane when Gilius flashes into ult him, pull him back, then stun him right after, keeping this Swain in check for so long that Jizuke and Jack Troll showed up here. Now they're invading for this blue buff. Vitality, much better early game. They're getting kills around mid. They've gotten a kill around top. And look at Combo Shot on this Camille now, applying a ton of pressure. Yes, first few levels, it kind of sucks against GP, but then you're more than fine.
Small reset on the blue buff. This could help Fnatic out, but Caboshot's being pulled down to support. He's got 20 CS up just shy of that against Bwipo. Now Caps is in trouble. Gonna get caught out by the Hextech ultimate to Brox's ultimate's on cooldown, remember. Dash over the wall. So is Demonic Ascension. Brox is doing his best to dissuade Vitality, and with the help of a cannon barrage, Vitality are running for their lives. Powder Keg will not find a target, but Brox
that's greedy.
may be here to save Cabo and the rest of his team. Cabo's dove forward. He gets the burst down with the Q, and now Cabo's in trouble. This is messy. They're trading 2 for 1. While all that's going on, Vitality get tower first blood, and then the chaos. Vitality lead by 2,000 gold.
5 kills, first turret for themselves. Mini Trupax doing well in lane, but more importantly up in that trade here we saw Kamsa jumped in, and it looked like he was going in alone, but Jizuka could follow up. Might be a fight here. It's an Ezreal with TNC.
Yep, we'll see how long this takes to kill Jack Troll. A long time.
Probably forever. So, meanwhile, fights around top side. And I think another important thing, Caps used his TP back to lane. He cannot match the first roam from Jizuke now with his ulti once it's ready. This is the initial fight, no ult on the Swain, so he's a lot weaker than normally. But look at this here. Vitality disengage, it's like, okay, they're done because there's a full HP top laner coming, but Kabashot then calls for himself to go in and try and kill Broxa. He's alone 1v3 at the moment, but he deals enough damage to kill the jungler, and then Jizuke shows up to make sure it's a 2 for 1 trade.
We both thought it was too eager. We both thought, and you know, Vitality on the same page. The comms in the fights to Fischio are so good. So Vitality, they've got a number of kills under their belt. They've got kills on their carries. First Dragon, Infernal. First Tower, secured. And this is the early game that Reckless himself was saying he was scared of. On the Euphoria podcast, talked about the power that Vitality have at this stage of the game.
He predicted 3-2 himself, which actually surprised me because normally players are always like, 3-0, we got it, easy peasy. No, you're saying there's a lot of good things Vitality can do, especially early on. So I'm very happy as a viewer of this game that we get to see that in Game 2. Yeah. We get to see why teams respect Vitality early on, and a lot of it is actually coming down to Gillis on the Skarner being very proactive.
Yeah, very proactive, and if you guys look at the minimap, I'd like to take a look at Vitality's vision from the bird's eye view. So we're going to zoom all the way out and show you just how deep into the bottom half of the map Vitality can now see. So there's some options and some ways to apply pressure to Fischio.
But now because they've spent so much time bottom side, they got Infernal Drake because of the vision, they got the first turret, they can swap everything top. So we can just go back to normal as both teams are hovering around, both mid and top lane. We've seen Fnatic's dual lane also matching, go top lane, knowing, okay, there's going to be a Sivir, there's going to be a Tahm Kench showing up, and they need to try and stop the bleeding.
1,500 gold at 13 minutes. Already 7 kills on the board total. And of course, the Rift Herald is a focus, but not worth investing huge resources. For now, Jizuke is going to be the target. That's a flash forward from Hylissang. Never Move comes down. That's going to slow Jizuke down. In comes Brox as the seismic shove buys some time. Glacial Fissure knocks Gilius into the air, and the blast cone keeps him in place. Fnatic finds 2, and they open up the mid tower.
I was just about to talk about their ulti being ready for Jizuke. Now he could roam away from bot lane. Then Fnatic just go mid and flash straight onto his face. 2 kills for them. A bunch of damage on mid lane turret. Mini Trubax, however, is trying to respond top lane with Jack Troll, and they will be able to get another turret. So while we get all the fights around the other members, this Sivir and this Tahm Kench, with the early kills, they're doing everything they can to just farm and secure turrets for the team. Let's see Hylissang onto the 1 minion that's betraying Jizuke here, allowing Hilly to jump on it and actually get a melee range of the Talia. That's a kill. And that's another one onto Gilius. A good group around mid. Nice aggressive play from Hylissang.
Oh, such a good play. That's definitely tweet-worthy when LCS big play. But Vitality, they still maintain the objective lead. They've got the Dragon, they've got the towers. In theory, they have the options to play around the map. And of course, this waddling Sivir, always going to be difficult to deal with, no matter what stage of the game, because of how well Mini Trupax has started. Although, as I say that, forced to use Summon, a heal, and the ult, just by taking a lot of poke from Reckless.
Moving around mid lane again from Reckless and Hylissang. Obviously, if you are Vitality, you have both Tahm Kench and Talia ulti, so there's 2 big abilities to actually move around the map, and both kind of want to sit mid. Now they're looking towards bottom side because they are both mid, and they can use them now.
Oh, Bwipo's just going to get run down here. Jack Troll's coming in for good measure. Everybody's in the bottom lane, except Mini Trupax, who will get the kill credit. Hookshot bounces forward, it's Cabo Shot that takes him down. Mini Trupax's Summoner Flash has been used, gets a lot of good damage down onto Reckless and Hilly, but not enough. 1 for 1 It looks like Reckless will get some damage on the tower.
And that kind of play from Vitality is very good as long as the guy on the other side walks away from his lane instantly, because you know the enemy team, the only answer for them is to cross-map you. Minitrubek sadly found himself under that turret. Instead of just stepping back, realizing it's not about him at the moment, he gives up a kill in return. Fnatic is starting Rift Hell, but I think Vitality, yeah, they're fast enough to stop this. Even it out, they just trade 1-for-1 in kills. And Gilius can get control of the Rift Scuttler.
Yeah, really important that Fnatic didn't get an extra advantage. But the way this game has gone, Deficio, I think we're in for another fight. Not a lot of ultimates available on the Vitality side. Only Gilius is impaled. Broxton and Hennesang waiting for some support from Reckless and Caps to make their way in. Long range on that Swain W. Can get thrown down at a moment's notice, and he's got full stacks on that Soul Shard. There goes the W, tags a couple members of Vitality. The Rift Herald has just reset. All of Vitality's hard work is for naught, and a teleport was used as well.
It was cancelled. Now there's GP ulti and, of course, TP from the Gangplank. So suddenly Vitality needs to respect that multiple members can show up, and it looks like everyone just backs away in the end. Jaxor will interrupt the recall.
Just to be a little obnoxious there, tongue lash into healing. But Deficio, this has been a very dramatic start. Chaotic, action-packed everywhere in the map.
Oh, he's going to do it again. He did it again.
Oh, it's just not cool.
Second time.
Yeah, he just really likes to lick Hillisang.
He does, yeah. Loves it.
Well, Vitality still maintain the gold lead. You can see these stats. They were down 2.5k at this moment in time in the previous game. Now they were up 1,000 gold. And the question is, how do they push this lead further?
Well, we know Minitrubek can kill the wave instantly. Ezreal needs a bit more time, so whenever Minitrubek push it out top or bot, he gets to go mid first with the rest of his team, and they can try and apply a bit of pressure on the mid lane turret, or secure vision in the river around that Rift Hell to get the advantageous situation to secure it. I think Fnatic, though, are going to be able to try and match it. They are fine sitting right now with both solo laners in the side lanes, as we see now with double TP as well. Cabochard is going all in.
He is indeed. Powder Cake's dodged away from.
Talia
As Hextech ultimate has been used. Broxah pulls Jizuki off the wall. And now Cabo is looking for a little bit more damage and the kill. Caps has arrived. He finishes the teleport. Gets caught by the seismic shot. Caps jumps forward and with the lightning zaps down Cabo. Buipo gets another in reply. And nobody from Fnatic die. It's a double kill Death's Hand for Caps.
That was so important for Fnatic. It looked like all the globals from Vitality could actually suddenly create a numbers advantage but to kill the enemy top laner, but instead it's Broxah interrupting Jizuke and Caps TPing in. And suddenly it's Fnatic getting 3 kills for themselves. Bot lane turret, Drake, everything suddenly going in favor of Fnatic.
Such a good turnaround, ready to pull the trigger. And Fnatic take the gold lead as we get past the 18 minutes, but that just looked exceptional response from Broxah and Caps.
One of those moments that can just be completely game-defining. The fact that it's not just another kill for Cabochard, while Fnatic are not getting anything on the map, but instead 3 kills plus turret plus Drake. I think it's so much from this. Initial play, we talk about Tamken's Talia being mid means they can ult to side lanes. That's exactly what they're doing again, but Broxah just smites Jizuki like, here, no, get down. There, and because TP then comes in from Caps, the rest of Vitality not able to respond in time. Gilius is mid, Minitrubek was top lane, and this Swain with the stopwatch.
Unbelievable.
Enough to buy time for Fnatic to get all the kills.
Deficio, may I ask for some permission really quick for a quick stat which is on your screen? Actually, I'm just going to do it. Swain in the EU LCS is on a 14-game winning streak.
What's your point, Trevor?
I just like interesting stats. And do you see what Caps just did in their last replay?
What's the point?
It could be a 15-game winning streak, which would put Fnatic 1 game away from their first final in 2.5 years.
So are you trying to say...
Swain's pretty strong.
That's what you're trying to say?
Thank you, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it at first.
Okay, superior analysis.
There you go.
One-liner from Deficio ruins my whole story.
Well, you read off a stat on the screen. I want to give you credit for that one. You've learned over the last few years.
To read. Thank you.
Exactly. You can now... I didn't want to say because it would be really rude, but now the secret is out.
There we go. Here's the truth. Learn to read on the EU LCS with interesting stats. And those interesting stats are telling me Fnatic is in the lead.
Yeah.
They've got the gold advantage. They've got the kill advantage. They're still playing for towers. They've got time for that.
Whenever we see this Swain you just talked about, go through on blue side, we rarely see an answer where it's like, oh, okay, now they just won the draft because the enemy team had to first pick Swain. It's not really happened yet. Swain tends to get early kills for himself as well, and then suddenly he becomes really hard to deal with. Vitality are trying to play away from Caps at the moment as there's no TP, but they realize wherever Caps goes, he's probably gonna be the strongest player. So they will get top lane turret for Fnatic, and Vitality are trying to get bot lane, but that play before, and the reason I called it a game-defining place, because now Vitality are pushed so far back on the map, they can't easily use all these different ultis to get around and force more plays near the Camille. It's just that Fnatic getting the turrets.
Whoa, Hill saying opportunistic ulti there, maybe expecting some sort of engage. Never came. So Glacial Fissure is on cooldown. Baron just spawned a few seconds ago. You can see instantly how all the vision is set up around the top half of the map. Jack Troll uses that cleanse and flash to get to safety, then devours mini Chupax. While Bwipo's being dived on the bottom lane. Cabo shot plus Jizuke take him out at the cost of a mid-outer turret. This will allow Fnatic to secure the third of the game, and they're not done yet.
Can Vitality get 2 turrets bot lane plus that kill? Then this can be worth it, but mid lane?
Well, there's a flash. Winter's Bite won't find a target yet, but look at Caps. He's flying forward. Kill credit secured by Broxah as Jack Troll is taken down in that demonic ascension form, and now Fnatic, they're going to look for the tower.
There's no minions mid, however, for Fnatic to try and kill the turret, so it's going to take a long time, and they have to back away for now, but next wave is on its way. Jizuke is running from base, but no, they can't do anything. So, Vitality create the play bot side, they get 2 turrets and a kill. Fnatic respond mid with exactly the same thing.
And there's a teleport instantly caught out by Cabo Shot. He's down before he can cast a spell. Manages to get 1 precision protocol down and then shut out. Gilly is forced to flash defensively. That impale will mean nothing as Bwipo shoots him in the face with the parlay. Deficio, Vitality may be bringing the Chaos style today, but Fnatic over the years were born in it, were bred in it. They are experienced to deal with it, and now they are starting Baron.
Fnatic have played against Unicorns of Love so many years, so many finals as well.
Yes.
Going all the way back to the first spring in 2015, and let's see what happens here.
Wow, Brox is on a lot of trouble in that pit, dropped to 300 HP. Now Caps takes a chunk, here comes mini Trupax, can't get through the hourglass. Bwipo manages to get the passive proc, and huge shield. Vitality, they don't get more, they'll be disappointed, but they've stopped the Baron.
And some of these plays here, Vitality, they're always so close. They see so many low members on the side of Fnatic, but they just can't get that last hit that secures the kill, and instead, it's Fnatic now with a 4K goal lead. A little bit smaller now after Vitality gets this turret, but we go way back, by the way. This is the original play bot lane to kill the Gangplank, and he just needs to buy enough time so that the rest of his team can actually kill something elsewhere on the map. And that's what he's doing. Kabzai will secure the kill with Jizuke, but mid-turret falls. Fnatic knows, be aggressive here. It's 4v3, go all in. We need to get kills, we need to get another turret in. Caps just lands the CC and pulls back Jack Troll, and suddenly that's a kill on the enemy support. And after this, it actually looks like they're not going to get the turret initially, because there's, you know, going to TP from Cover Shot and everything, but they stay. And when that TP comes in, well, he's too far away from his team. And they just jump him. They kill him instantly, and now you can't win the fight if you're Vitality, and you end up losing even more. So it looks difficult. Great start from them. They got some kills on top side, but I almost felt like the laning phase ended too quickly, so they couldn't keep setting up very easy plays, and now it's like always all in.
Wow, here comes Gilius, manages to get the impale on Hilisak mid-air. He was flying frozen in the sky, but there wasn't enough damage. Fnatic turned this around, destroy the rookies, and they are looking set for a showdown with G2 in the finals. Fnatic are outclassing Vitality right now. Look at Jizuke's face.
And now Fnatic will get the Baron for themselves. They can grab an Infernal Drake on the bottom side. They're almost going to be 10k gold ahead after this, and Vitality's composition with all the ultis to try and snowball the Camille, it backfired. Based on the execution in this game and based on very good answers from Fnatic. And suddenly, if you're Vitality, you're already thinking about game 3 now.
Yep.
But you're going to be down 2-0, and this is Vitality on red side. They go all in for the Braum. Typical rule, something we learned from LCK earlier today, is you do not try and use Skarn ult on the Braum. You get punished for it.
Hilly got the Q and the R off before even being caught. Before being punished, got his ult down to help out the rest of Fnatic, and look at this Swain damage. Oh, man. So, what was that win streak to Fisher I told you about a moment ago?
Yeah. It's going to be
14.
14 games.
So this is potentially the 15th in a row. Puts Fnatic on match point. Let that sink in for a moment. 22 kills though, 25 minutes. This has been a wild ride. And Vitality, they still have the late game insurance of a Sivir, but my word, do you have to play safe.
Yeah, and if someone tuned in after the pick and ban phase and they wondered, how on earth did a team get Swain again? Like, what could Vitality possibly ban on
You have
red
an answer?
side that could allow Swain to go through? Well, Vitality, Trevor, they banned 3 AD carries. They said, you know what, Reckless is a smart guy, this one. There we go, that's from earlier today. You guys are quick back there, I like it. So, they banned 3 AD carries, but they're kind of forgetting that Fnatic early game is not about Reckless. They don't need him to win. He can just farm. So when they ban all the AD carries and give away Swain and all the big picks, well, they don't really get an advantage in the draft itself.
They don't. So Fnatic have got a huge advantage in the bottom lane. They use Brox's ultimate just to zone Vitality away, and Vitality are scrambling for their lives. HP bars already blinking low. Nobody wants to jump into Demonic Ascension Swain, especially one that has Leandry's Aurora and Hourglass. Fnatic break open the base, they don't get the inhib, but they back away safely.
As we have fun with the Swain thing, we still have to mention that this Vitality draft, like, they had a very clear game plan in front of them. And the early game from them actually also made sense. Like, they played to mid and top, they got early kills with Gilius, they won the bot lane because they got that first blood, or second blood I guess it was, onto Reckless.
Yeah.
It was actually looking really good for them. But then we started having a lot of these like even trades that happen, and the moment they all in for a bot lane play with Tahm Kench, Taliyah, and it completely backfired, Fnatic stopped the bleeding and took control.
And that's exactly what Fnatic have done. Once they got that Baron, they played the map, they've pushed their vision. Vitality are down 10,000 gold at 27 minutes, and the Sivir 500 CS win condition is 200 CS away. So let's see what Vitality can do to dig deep, because another tower is going to fall. This will be the 7th of the game in favor of Fnatic.
Capucha trying to get some pressure on bottom side.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while before he's even at a turret. Although Fnatic can move forward.
Does have a teleport available. Very good seismic shove there onto Guipo. Two-shot barrage just to try and push that wave down a little more on the Baron Banner empowered cannon minion. Just doing its work on the back end of that inhibitor turret. So another one falls as Fnatic, they continue to apply the pressure. Jizuke's got the Weaver's Wall. He can lock Fnatic's retreat off, and Guipo is low, but Vitality can't find the opportunity yet.
There's sadly for Vitality only one ward near where Fnatic is standing now that could potentially be used as a TP ward. Did it bounce all the way back to base?
It was just about to catch Guipo, so I think it flew all the way to base.
It's probably going to hit him in the face down here. We can wait. Like, give it 10 seconds, see if it comes flying down at some
I
point.
hope it does.
It should actually, because like, what would stop it? Come on, where's it at?
Maybe it's gone, unfortunately.
Maybe it hit him before. No, something hit him.
The never-ending ricochet.
You saw it hit him.
Finally, I saw the little proc, yeah. Popped up.
We just
but-
didn't see it on the screen.
No, unfortunately not.
And Trubeck's weirdly walking towards the Raptor camp.
I always thought it looks like Sivir needs to pee. If you look at the way she runs with this skin, that's what I think. There's a few people here in Berlin that got that one. So, thank you, observers.
I really want to see you run like that.
But either way,
Going
Baron
around.
to Fisher, Baron is worn off,
Yes.
and Fnatic, they've got exposed inhibitor in the bottom lane, Super's in the top lane. What is the safe way to finish this game out with this monumental lead that they have?
Why do you need a safe way? You're like unkillable at this point. You run at the enemy team, they have one turret to defend them in the mid lane, and you kill them very, very fast. They don't need to play scared or play safe if you're Fnatic. Look at your carries at the moment. This Swain, 10 stacks even on the Dark Seal, man. It doesn't get any better at this point. He's level 16. Flash into the enemy face and kill them.
All right, let's see if they can do it. Flash is available. Gonna push into the bottom inhibitor.
Enemy faces available.
There's exposed. I'm looking at flashes on the side of Vitality. Everybody's got it up. The powder cake's not going to do any damage. There's not a lot of minions to work with either. Ever move comes down, and Hylissang once again with a very good ulti. Swain's passive pulls Gilius back, and that means he's not going to find the engage. Flash was used defensively. Impale not used yet. There goes the pass forward. Fnatic screw the safety. Super's on the top tower. They're forcing Vitality back. Reckless is on a rampage. Bwipo gets another. Vitality are running for their lives. 3 members down already. And Fnatic take down the Nexus turrets. Fnatic turn their attention on the Cabo shot. He's going to get the Hextech ultimatum down, but will not be able to get a kill. Caps' passive pulls him backwards. Everybody from Vitality is being crushed. Only Bwipo, he goes down as Jizuki takes him out. Finally, Reckless shuts him down for the ace. The 20th kill in 30 minutes. The Nexus becomes the focus, and Fnatic are 1 win away from finals.
It looked like Vitality came in and had a lot they could actually do in the early game. They got some of those early kills. It looked a lot better than in game 1. But against a double TP with a Swain coming down and securing multiple kills for Fnatic, it just stopped the snowball completely. And we knew this draft from Vitality would struggle if it didn't, continue to get kills, especially for Caboshard in that side lane. When you are against things like Swain and GP that can just destroy you very quickly in the team fight.
It's so interesting when you see games like that in a semi-final of the split, because it just devolved into chaos for the first 10 minutes. Both teams swinging, both teams getting advantages in different places. And at the end of the day, I think some of that experience, I think some of the players on Fnatic that have so much experience together managed to make those calls, managed to find some semblance of normality in the chaos.
I mean, Vitality are trying to play like Fnatic played last year. Well, it was about forcing a lot of plays around the map, a lot of individual moments where you can stand out, and Fnatic can obviously match that style. That's what we've seen now, 2 games in a row. I think with Vitality, the whole try and ban out Reckless as much as possible, it doesn't work. It doesn't really make a lot of sense for them because they don't need to be so afraid of him right now. You can give him Tristana and accept that your late game is going to be tough to play, but at least the first 30 minutes, you might actually have an advantage you can try and abuse. It seems to be a better strategy than what they're doing now and giving over some power picks by just banning 80 carries.
We'll see what they do when we get back. For now, though, Fnatic have brought us to match point already. Let's send it to Shucks and the guys for more.
Well, Trevor, this is a massacre of the likes of which I have not seen a lot in the EU LCS playoffs. The only thing that I can equate it with is Fnatic getting smashed by Misfits in the semifinals in summer. That's how bad it is, and that's actually also how shocked I am at how convincing Fnatic is closing these games out, and also on the Shadow side, how Vitality is not really putting up anything against that force.
I do feel as though that this time round, Vitality showed a little bit more than what they did in the past. Like, we were talking a lot about that level 1 and how really Vitality should have seen it coming. But overall, and considering how poorly it went, I felt like the Vitality responded pretty effectively.
All right, so in the early game, indeed, they responded at least. Gilius seemed to be more present on the map. So what exactly was his game plan in this early game?
I mean, I think he had the sense of urgency because he got his blue buff stone. So he was basically like, I have to force a play early on in the game to basically keep my team in the game and to get, like, especially top lane ahead, because this matchup, especially with the Talia roams later on, which is basically the game plan for them, are the plays that he has to make. He has to get the solo lanes ahead, and if he did so effectively in the early game, for that later on, which we're going to talk about too.
Yeah, in a second. First, we do want to look at the fact that he does get his laners ahead. He gets pressure for Caboshard, he gets pressure for Jizuke, and he frees up that bottom lane to move around the map.
Yes, so the big thing I also think is that in the draft, we noticed a lot of 80 carry bans, and I felt like this allowed Mini Trupax and Jack Troll to get themselves a winning pushing bot lane, and off the back of that, thanks to the early pressure that they also had, they got 2 very early towers which opened the map so much. And when you have Talia, Tom Kench, all these globals that can very quickly move everyone around the map, they just did a great job of constantly shutting Bwipo down. Unfortunately, they then got a little too greedy with it.
Yeah, basically they're set up for a bottom play, which is basically something you do want to do. You still want to play for the GP Camille lane, but you have to know your limits and you have to know how many members are on the map, because in the end you still have to play with a numbers advantage, and that's something they didn't recognize here at all, where they didn't recognize the caps at TP, they didn't recognize his amount of strength, and they did not know where the Sejuani was, because Sejuani, as we saw earlier, actually cancelled the Talia ultimate and thus created a situation in which it was basically a 2v2 for such a long time and became a 2v3.
Yeah, and this ended up being a 3-0 in favor of Fnatic, and it just swung the momentum so much back in their favor because they got a bunch of kills, they got a bunch of towers, and then they were the ones to start putting pressure on Vitality.
And this, to me, is where I was really impressed with Fnatic at the end of this game, or at the middle of this game, because they were still not incredibly ahead, but they took the momentum swing, and with the experience on that roster, even without Soaz there, they completely took over the game in a matter of minutes, much like they did in Game 1 when they closed out so fast after that Baron. And that is, for me, what is so destructive about how Fnatic is playing in this moment. Let's take a look at the replay, because they're going to take a mid-fight, and Fnatic is just not going to let up. They're going to fight, and they're going to push as far as they can.
And this is a situation where Vitality feel the need to try and force something, given the situation that they're in. They know they have late-game team fights, but Fnatic is just way too strong, and they respond way too effectively. They quickly turn this into a Baron, and then we've seen what this team knows what to do once they get that advantage. And another very quick, efficient lead results in a very quick game.
Swain was pretty fed as well, so that's never good.
Swain.
Yeah, well, it's sad. So when we look at this gold craft, it is damning. If you pair that with the now 0-2 score for Vitality, the fact that a storyline we followed a lot in the beginning of the split was, will they be emotional? How will they rebound? This does not bode well. But still, Maurice, you put your faith in Vitality. You think, or you thought before the match, that they had the tools to fight this Fnatic. After these two games, what do you think, and where do you think their openings lie?
I mean, I do think that Fnatic looks a lot better than anticipated. So the amount of pace and the amount of aggression that they bring, and honestly, they abuse every mistake really, really hard. It's just something I didn't quite expect. So what I would like to see out of Vitality is actually just honestly taking the role that I expected Fnatic to take. Take a step back and actually accept, okay, Fnatic has really good pace. They really understand what they're doing at certain times, and play the late game scaling and then just win off of that. Because I do think, even though they have iffy setups on the Nashor, Vitality in the very late game makes a lot of good decisions.
Well, I think it makes sense, but that's also what we said yesterday when we were watching G2 Splice, and that's always the last resort. Play for that late game scaling, but if you're up against Fnatic that has the possibility to demolish you and destroy you early, it doesn't seem like a good route to me, but, you know.
For me, it very much seems like that Vitality have come in with an idea of how they want to play, and execution is faltering slightly, but also it just feels that they're sometimes getting a little over-ego with the plays that they're often trying to force.
So do you agree with Maurice that they should go for late game scaling, or should they again bank on the early game?
I still think they should look to try and play towards the early game. I think that Fnatic's early game is not perfect. It is clearly a strategy that over the last 2 weeks they've been working on it, improving, and they definitely have shown improvement, but it's not perfect as of yet. And Vitality have a lot more experience in that field, so I feel that if they get an early leads, they just need to be a little more patient with what they do with that lead if they want to try and find a win for in Game 3. But I already predicted the 3-0.
Yes, you did.
I feel like Fnatic is going to take the final.
You are on course. We'll see Fnatic at the brink of making it to the final. We need to see Vitality fight back if they want to stay in the game, because Fnatic leads at 2-0. When we return, we'll see what Vitality can do. They need to make something happen. We'll be right back.
Vitality as the Sentinel continues to be focused at Smite fight, picked up by Broxer, of course. Now they can get it back onto Gilius. Jack drops to 200 HP. Gilius going low. Rector summoning Healer Flash. First blood picked up by Hillisek, but the reply from Jackal.
It's unfortunate. We're not there, Cabo. I'm coming. I got one. Let me direct. Good job. Good job. Leave. Okay, perfect. Leave. Give me the flash. Really good. 2 forwards now, Cabo. We got the bot tower. Really good.